Hey guys, and welcome back to another super fresh video with yours truly, the voice of reason, right here on YouTube. So let's just get into this one, shall we? On Saturday, YouTubers VeganGains and Destiny debated veganism, and I'll link both channels along with the video of the debate below. If you follow VeganGains, you'll know he's had a series of debates on veganism with other YouTubers like Roaming Millennial, Andy Worski, Bearing, and No Bullshit. And although I would say that Destiny was the worthiest of all these opponents, albeit terribly underwhelming, I'm still left with the question of, so what? I mean, did anyone really win? Did this really advance veganism and lead to less pain and suffering? Notwithstanding the pain and suffering caused by having to watch yet one more debate, I would have to say the answer is a resounding no. I mean, looking at the comments, it really seems to come down to whether or not the viewer is vegan. If you're vegan, then you probably think VeganGains won, but if you like to eat meat, then you probably sided with Destiny. And I don't want to dismiss these debates outright, because I think that anytime we're talking about veganism on social media, then it's at least getting some attention from the public, which is good. And I also think that VeganGains deserves a lot of credit for stepping up and taking some of these people on. He does a great job, in my opinion. But was this the best use of VeganGains' time if the goal is to potentially convince people to give up meat? I would argue no. From my perspective, I think both guys won their own separate fights. Destiny was there to show how logically and morally consistent he could be, and I think he was successful in doing that. VeganGains effectively argued why empathy has to be factored into how we treat animals, and thankfully there were no temper tantrums this time. But there weren't any inflection moments or breakthroughs either. Neither guy was really able to get a lock hold on the other. I would argue that this debate was even less useful than the others VeganGains has had in the past. Even though I think Destiny was comparatively more impressive than No Bullshit or Andy Worski, this debate would be really hard to relate to for most people who eat meat. Destiny stayed completely academic throughout the debate and proved a position that has integrity, but is completely unrealistic and non-relatable. There's no way people are going to make decisions in their lives completely devoid of emotion or empathy, however delusional or arbitrary these emotions may be. And throughout the debate, VeganGains had his own problems. It's completely unproductive to begin a discussion with a question like, if you saw your girlfriend being raped, or jumping into blurry parallels between animal agriculture and genocide. For the average Joe, it comes across ridiculous and abstract, giving the opposition something to reject. And even the most ardent vegan isn't spending every moment of his or her life contemplating the existential aspects of veganism. And what I mean by that is most of the time being vegan is about diet. Is veganism just diet? Of course not. But most of the time, for most of us, being vegan is defined in terms of what we put in our mouths. To a lesser degree, what we wear and sit on, and to an even lesser extent, how we shave, brush our teeth, or vote. And we seem to lose complete touch with this point when we talk to non-vegans. We very often go immediately to the most existential, abstract justifications for going vegan and completely turn most people off. Look, personally, I didn't go vegan because I felt morally inconsistent. I did it because I was getting something out of it. It worked for me and my life, and so the choice was easy and sustainable. And this is what some vegans misunderstand when they try and make an argument for veganism. They often jump to the animal holocaust or try to stir logical confusion or cite logical fallacy in an effort to win a debate. And what ends up happening is they insult the person who they're trying to influence in the first place. In order for change to occur, you have to appeal to how people feel and how they experience the world. In other words, we need to keep the conversation local and away from the philosophical clever talk. We should talk to people with respect, for God's sake. Meat eaters are not the enemy, and they often are open to learning about veganism if it's presented in a sane manner. This is why I always felt turned off by Gary Rofsky. He always talked in such extreme and abstract terms, and it didn't connect with me. And I don't think it connects with a lot of people. The average person will never relate to it, and another thing, I think we need to let meat eaters express their reasons why they choose to eat meat, not why they don't want to become vegan. If you just frame it differently and let people talk long enough, then they usually open up and share that they'd like to cut back on eating meat, and sometimes start asking about vegan options. But that can only happen when the conversation is framed in terms of what they eat, not what they shouldn't be eating. The more you try to impose your own perspective, the easier and more likely it is for the person to counter the point. You have to convince and show people how they themselves can benefit from veganism in their own lives. Why? Because change isn't easy for most people, and they have neither the time nor the interest to turn dinner time into a story with a moral ending. Personally, I would love it if everyone went vegan overnight, but I know that's not likely to happen as things are today. I think that sometime down the road, consumers will be forced to pay the true cost of meat products and begin to choose plant-based alternatives. Technological strides will also continue in the area of lab-grown meat, and perhaps people will be able to have their meat and eat it too someday. Veganism has a chance to grow when it starts with little things like meatless Mondays, or discovering that tofu is actually pretty delicious, or just switching to almond milk. People leave comments for me all the time sharing that they're making small changes and that their ultimate goal is to go vegan. Is there a place for intellectual academic discussions about the ethical implications of consuming meat? Yes, but do these kinds of debates really change people? I really don't think they do. They're fun and exciting and get the adrenaline going, but the nature of a debate is to win and ends up being polarizing. I think we need more discussion and less debating. Alright guys, there's the video for today, so please let me know what you think down below. I don't want this to be a disrespectful video toward VeganGains, because he's hustling out there and he's really doing great work, and I really admire him for that. But let me know what you guys think. You know, is the debate thing helping, do you think? Or do you think that it's sort of taking away or detracting from good discussion that could be occurring instead? Anyway, if you thought the video was the least bit interesting, please consider leaving a like. I do so appreciate it. And if you haven't already, go over to Instagram and Twitter and start following me today. The links are in the description box below. And I look forward to seeing you right back here in a few days' time for another super fresh video.